Hi everyone, welcome to Carly's Creative Clay. I'm Carly, back again for a Wednesday clay session with you all. This week we're going to make a simple dragon. Well, the simplest dragon that I make anyway. But I think it's actually pretty simple. So I do think this is one that someone, not a complete beginner, but a relatively new to clay person can make. Okay. My item of the week, which is stuff that's featured in my shop, I've actually got quite a few bits. I have a range of hook over animals, so as you can see, their little front paws hook over the side, and you can do it plant pots, cups of tea and put your tea bag around them, all sorts of things like that. This isn't the full range. We got a cat, which I showed you, brown dog. I decided this range I wasn't going to varnish. The frog's actually got crystal for its eyes. It's one of my favourites. Penguin, rabbit, and there are dragons in the shop. I think there's a few more. I've got to be honest, I can't remember the whole of this range, but I know they're all £8 each. So if any of these take your fancy, they are all available. Right, let's put this to one side and get on with my claying. Right, before today, I've made a couple of bases that I'm going to mount dragons on. The idea is this. I got a set of really pretty marbles because I want to make guardians of my last marble statues. So each of the animals will have a single marble that they're holding, and then whoever buys it can no longer say they've lost all their marbles, because they'll have one and it'll be guarded by a dragon. So bases I've made already, so we're going to need to pick between these three. We have red glitter with blue and yellow pebbles mounted in, and on the side, this way up, isn't it? Guardian of my last marble with a heart. We got the blue set. Now, all of these glass pebbles, before I push them into the clay, I put a bit of tinfoil behind them, and that's why they stand out so brightly against the clay. I will be doing something similar with the eyes on the dragon we're going to make, so you will see this. But it's always worth, if you've got something that is quite transparent like glass, back it with a bit of tin foil. And so the blue one has silver writing, and the black one has gold. So, have we got anyone in chat yet?
Evil Monkey Spaz, although nobody's chatting.
Evil Monkey Spaz. Hello, Evil Monkey Spaz. So, what we're going to do with them, the colours I've chose, is a dark orange for the main colour of the dragon. I've already got glitter on it. And light orange for the accent. Now, I really think that probably this lot will go best with the red. So if I go for the red, yeah, and I'll put these to one side and they'll have models on them later. Right, so the base I won't need until a lot later once I made the dragon, so I'll put it to one side. Now, first thing that you're going to start with after you've conditioned out your clay, so you roll it out, scrunch it back into a ball, roll it out, and this softens it and mixes the plasticizer back in properly. You need to start with a ball of tin foil. Now this is an old bit of tin foil that I covered my baking tray with for previous bakes, and it got torn, so I'm going to use this as the centerpiece. So what you need to do, it doesn't matter which side out you have it, you're going to scrunch it into a loose ball. Now this, what we're making, is technically called an armature. An armature is anything that offers structural stability to the inside of a model or a statue. And the reason why we're going to use tinfoil as the body is because the clay, when you bake it, it will only turn hard if it reaches its baking temperature, which is 110 degrees for FIMO. So that means if I made it solid clay through the body, the heat has to get through the whole thing right into the center and get the center of it up to 110, or I'd have a soft core with a hard baked outside, and that ends up meaning that it will crack and foul in the future. So it's better to have a foil center with clay around the outside. Okay, right, so I've shaped a very loose ball because this isn't the end what we're going to do with it. We're going to get one end and start to form it into a teardrop. So just squeezing round like that, and then you're going to use your glass counter if you got one, or a glass tile can do this fine. We're just smoothing out the ridges on the tin foil. If you don't smooth out your foil and you put your clay straight over, it will poke through the clay because the clay is soft. The other option you can do is cover the foil in masking tape, and that should stop anything poking through into your finished work and spoiling it. But as you can see, I'm able to just use my board, and very quickly it's starting to become very smooth. So that's what you're looking for. It's worth taking just a little time to get that right, and if you're not sure, you can masking tape it. And what I'll do is, I think that's all right personally, but I will show you how to masking tape it up. Just get some tape, just knock stuff off my shelf, it's fine. I'll show you how I tape it up because it's just as fast. And when I first did some taping up of a foil armature, I did it far too neatly, took ages at it, and it's not necessary. So as you can see, I'm just wrapping it round. You can get masking tape that is wider than the standard, and that makes it even quicker.
Joy Coleman says they're going to watch on YouTube because Twitch isn't working for them.
Oh no, sorry Twitch isn't working for you all, but welcome, and I'm glad to see you. I'm just doing a foil armature of a teardrop shape. Can you see it's pretty scruffily covered in masking tape, and that's fine. Where did the end go? There we are. Right. Now, my word of warning is this. If you cover your armature in masking tape and then decide to leave it and go to bed for the night, by the time you get up the next morning, most of your masking tape will have peeled off. It happens to me. It's happened to me several times, put it that way. Right, it's fully covered like that. So because masking tape isn't meant to be the greatest thing for sticking with, it don't hold for very, very long. That's fine once we've got the clay on though. So what I've done is I've just flattened down any of the stick up bits by just rolling it around a bit, and there you go. Your foil armature covered in masking tape. Right, I'll put the masking tape away. Right, first thing to do is we're going to work on covering that and making a body shape. So, main clay colour. We are going to cut a decent chunk off. Stick that to one side. We're not going to need the accent for a little while, so oops, don't put it near the thing that's covered in glitter, Carly, especially since it's pal. Right, you want some slices. It doesn't matter how neat you make this, trust me, it's going to look scruffy for a bit. So we're going to just cover this now.
Hearty Life Alive says, yeah.
Hi, nice to see you. I'm going to be contacting your friend so that I can come sell at that fair with you. My mother-in-law is happy to help me and is all excited about it, so I am now. Yeah, all good. How's everyone's week been? Right, I am covering, this is a foil ball covered in masking tape in a teardrop shape. We're starting to make a dragon's body. And I hear the cat coming in.
Hey guys.
Well, you may end up seeing my cat Rufus. I hope not, because he leaves.
Good, thanks.
Sorry, hello, Zafra. Yeah, I've been alright. Thank you, hubby. Escort the cat out because he leaves a trail of hair everywhere. And I don't want orange hair in my clay. I don't think it will add the effect. Right. So, you don't want this layer to be too thin. If you can see, I've got it sort of 1/2 centimetre thick, because you're going to do a lot of different working on this. And I'm just literally roughly patching in anywhere that isn't covered in clay. And I'm tearing off any extra that I don't need. And it is totally fine to look really scruffy at this stage. The trick with clay, when you start, you want to be neat with absolutely everything at every stage. And then you...
Life Alive says, good, thanks, you.
Good to hear from you. Yeah, I've been alright. It's been a good week. It's knowing which stages to be clean and tidy that need to look neat, and which ones it really doesn't matter. Because you'll find you'll end up over neatening just to make it scruffy again, just to neaten it, and it's a waste of time. So, a little bit for the very end. The other thing I would warn you on at this stage, try not to trap any air bubbles in here. So when you're laying your clay down, I'll show you on this bit. Instead of just putting it on and pushing like that, I could have trapped air in. Lay along one side, push down on that side, and then fold over, pushing along the edge that's going down. That pushes the air out as it goes down and means you've got less chance of having a bubble. Because I did make a dragon that I completely didn't follow that tip with, and I ended up having a big enough air bubble at the neck that the whole head and neck fell off. It was repairable, but it was a pain. So we now have kind of a football shaped, covered, scruffy looking body. We're going to make this even more scrappy because we're going to add a little lump of clay either end, and then we're on to the tidying. The lump of clay that you're going to add is going to be all the size of your neck and your towel. So bear that in mind with how much you add on. So if you want a very short towel, you don't need a lot, or a very short neck, again, not a lot. If you want a very long one, you need to add more clay on at this stage. So bit on that side. Again, make sure you don't trap any air. Push from one side to the other like that, and on the other side again, push it on very firmly, making sure you're not trapping air. So you're now left with that, looking like the greatest dragon ever so far. But it will get better very shortly, because we're now going to use our board and just smooth out some of these lines. You can use your... It looks like a urn.
If you turn it on its side.
Yes.
Like that, yeah.
Suppose so. I also use my thumb and just smooth in the join line of the top and the bottom. So you're just trying to work to get rid of all the lines to neaten it all up.
Evil Monkey Spaz says, sorry I'm late to join, I got distracted.
That's alright. To be honest, it was possible that we were going to be late because we got into a game of Bejeweled. It's amazing how addictive matching jewels up is. You can blink and time vanishes. See how quickly it's starting to neaten up already? I've got that one now smooth along the neck edge, and we'll get rid of that crack just by pushing on it, bringing it together. Right, so that's one end done. Smooth that joint out there, smooth that joint out there. We're gonna go up to the other end and tidy that up so it looks the same. So you're looking for like a circle with two stumps either end. It's kind of like a cartoon sweet, that sort of shape. Now on my very little dragons, like the ones on my glasses, because they're very small amount of clay, you can literally just make that from solid clay, roll a ball and then just pinch either end and pull whilst rolling, will get you to the same sort of shape. But you don't want to do that on ones that are too big. There we go. Now it's coming together pretty well. Having decently conditioned clay can also help with this. I couldn't tell you what colour I mixed up here, 'cause actually I found my Fimo yellow was a little too hard and dry, and I had some Fimo soft in red, so that's how I made my orange up. Right, we're basically there now. There we go, smooth and tidy. Have a double check around because you really don't want to be smoothing it in later. Right, that's the start of it. Okay, so you're picking your neck end and your towel end. Your neck end wants to really be thinner than your towel end. So neck, we're going to now pinch it smaller, so I'm going around in little circles and just pinching it until it's at the thickness that I want. Then the towel end, you're going to put it down on your desk.
4D says, I thought it looked like a different orange.
Yes, it is. But remember, orange is literally red and yellow, so you can end up with many different tones of it. Right, yes, you're putting your towel down so it's slightly diagonally facing. Can you see? And I'm rolling along to bring this out into a point. You can also do it in your hand like this. You can use your fingers and bring it round like that. So there's whatever's more comfy for you, but pinching can leave ridge marks, so you have got to smooth afterwards. And you're going to go into quite a long point, because this is going to be a decently long towel. And if you find that, can you see there's like it's lipped over, that's easy to smooth out. You don't need to cut it off or anything, you just rub it at any marks and blemishes and then put it into a nice little point shape. Now we are going to put a twist, like a little twisty scowl at the end of that. So we are now body, towel, bring your neck just so it's slightly facing up a bit. Now that's what we're ending up with. Next stage along, you want to pinch a spine. So we're just going along the middle, we're pinching out a little spine ridge, because people expect to see a spinal column along a reptile because they all have it. So it just makes it look a little bit more real if the anatomy is correct. And you're going to go up the back of the neck to the base there. There we go. You can round it off a bit and smooth it in. There we are. Can you see there's a spine ridge now? So next we get the accenting colour. We're going to make a belly. So you need a fair old whack of that, but don't forget you've got to leave yourself enough for wings and horns and things like that, so you don't want to take it all. So you can see the amount of clay difference to what I used on the body. Let's turn that blade round because that's not great. Now form that up into a ball. We're rolling. Weirdly enough, how we're going to make this stomach is how you would make a dragon body if you weren't using a foil armature. So you start out with your ball like that. Get rid of all the ridge marks because as you start to stretch them they become more noticeable. Right, take one side of your ball and you just start to pinch and roll.
Fairy Hedgehog says she gets, well, they get adverts now when they log in, video adverts.
Really?
That surprises me.
It surprises me because I'm not a affiliate, so I'm not getting any money for adverts. That's really cheeky of them. We might need to look into this. It's one thing if you are an affiliation and you get a cut. Right, what you're trying for is you want the towel that you've made to be the same length as the towel there. See? Oops, I'm up into my face corner. There we go. So, towel to towel. There you go. Then flatten that down a bit.
Fairy Hedgehog says it's the first time it's happened. Artie Life's Lives says they always see an ad at the beginning.
Interesting. Right, I will look into this, I promise. Was now starting to follow along the body, and then we're going to pinch along to make the neck underside. And you're just matching up rough lengths along the underside, see? Because afterwards you can then put it flat on a board and start to roll it so that it's an even thickness and is actually going to wrap around your dragon how you want it to. Don't worry the fact that it's stuck onto the board. I'm about to show you how to release it. I think I want these to come out a bit so you can spread them out with your finger. If they're too thin, you can always take some clay down from the top and start to just push it and bring those.
4D says they always have that as well.
Helps if my light holder don't fall off them. It's one of the days for everything falling off. Right, when you want to release it from your board. Sorry, what did 4D say? I completely missed that.
Have an ad as well.
It's odd. I'll find out. Clean my blade. That would have been really bad on light orange. When you're releasing your clay from your board, you use your tissue blade. You put it either side, your fingers at the top, like that, and you pull towards you with the blade against your glass board. See?
Hottie Life says, so Twitch gets money. I don't have a paid or premium prescription. I'm a starving artist.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of us starving artists out there. So, you can see it's now flat, wide and roughly the same size as this. So you start by the middle of the body. You put it where you want into the centre. And you're trying to not trap air, so you push down and then you're rolling out to the edge. Pick it up, do the same the other side. So now your tummy's down. Bring it up. You want to make sure that there's a little overhang at the top of your chin, at the top of your neck, because it's going to go under the chin, sorry. And you're pushing the clay, making sure that that there's no air, so you're rolling it out to the sides. Up to the tip of the neck, stop there. Then we're going back down the body to the towel. Roll into any indents, bring it round. Like this, up to the tip. There we go. So, either you can leave it like this, so can you see there's a slightly rounded bump to the main body, or you can use your thumb and just flatten down the edges, which is what I like to do, just so it looks a little more smooth, because on actual lizards there isn't such a big join between the body scales and the tummy scales, so it does look quite smooth when you look at them. So there we go, rolling, just using my thumb, just in a rolling motion along the edge, just to flatten it down to the edges. There we go. Right, we now have a dragon body done that quick. So next stage is get a drink and then get on with some legs. Put your dragon body safely to one side, get your main colour clay back. Now you need to take off enough clay for your head and the top edge of your wing. So let me show you on these. Can you see that the wing along the top edge there and there is the colour of the main body, but the membrane area is the accenting colour. Yeah? Right, that's what we're doing. We need to make sure there's enough for 2 of those top edges and the head, and that's what you're going to cut off. So I would say that would definitely do it. That should do it for a dragon that size. You can get the body and compare and go, yeah, that would be a head size where my thumb is, and that gives me a bit extra. So do use your eyes and have a compare. What remains is what we're going to divide into 4 for the legs. You can either use a ruler along the side, or you can eyeball it, or you can get some very good little weighing scales that actually weigh smaller weights, so you can then compare them weight wise if you really want to make sure that they're exactly the same. If you want to, some people make the back legs slightly more clay, so slightly bigger than the front legs, but I tend to try and make them kind of even. The easiest way to tell, and you're going to need to start with them in this anyway, is to roll them all into balls. So you need 4 balls. Hope she's okay. What?
In reference to Charlie Starr not being here.
Oh, is Charlie still unwell?
I sent her a reminder that the stream was on just as a courtesy, but I haven't heard
Yeah.
from her.
She's
has anyone else
had a lot of health problems at the moment, which is difficult because she needs to have a period of time of not having health problems in order for her medical treatment to go forwards. So fingers are all crossed that she can get over this and summer keeps her virus free. Right, so we're rolling out the 4 bits that we've chopped into balls into... Let's start that sentence again. I'm foggy today.
Did you read the notice when Dovebra said, I just know I'm going to want to buy this dragon?
Oh, thank you, Dovebra. That's lovely.
Then they said, oh, bless her, my thoughts are with her.
Yeah. Unfortunately, winter is the season for everyone getting everything wrong with them. We don't have it cold enough in the UK to literally kill off all the viruses. It's just at the cold enough point where they all thrive, and it's really annoying. Apparently, my brother-in-law is living in Germany at the moment, and he said their winter's there. That's cold. Not even a cold virus is surviving out in that. Kind of envious of that one. Right, so we've rolled them all out into balls. We're going to put them next to each other to do a size comparison. They look roughly the same, but these 2 look very slightly bigger than those 2. Yeah, let's do those 2 as the back legs, these 2 as the front legs. So back legs first. What you start out with this ball, you're going to push in along the middle line to divide it into 2 balls with a little bit of a stick of clay. Now, you don't want this bit going too thin, and I'll show you why, because what we're going to do is, now we've got that the 2 balls with your stick, you're going to get the larger one. You're going to pinch out a small ball at the end. Now, what you've actually formed is a thigh, a calf and a foot. They don't look like it yet. You're just allocating clay for them. So your thighs are a little bit more stretched out than that. They're sort of a tall circle like that. That sort of shape. So that's your thigh. Now we're going down to a calf, which again is also that sort of shape, but the leg bone runs through the middle. So kind of like that. So you're just pinching along the top edge to make a bit of a leg bone. Don't want it too prominent, and then that makes the rounded bit towards back. Now at that joint we're going to fold it in half like that, and then we're going to use our fingers and push that into a little kind of square shape to make a kneecap. See? So now we're suddenly, that looks like a leg now. So now we're on to the foot. You get your ball, you push on the very back and the top, and you're going to bring the clay forward like that. So you're just pulling forward with your thumb. Then you, at that edge, pinch along that side. There we are, we've got a foot. Now you can either leave the heel like that, or you can pinch and pull and make a little heel shape. You can curve the ball of your foot like that and bring the toes out. There's many different foot shapes you can go for. I tend to go for something a bit like that. See? Now we're going to add claws later. So you need 2 of these, one for either side. So I'll put that to one side, get my next ball, and do the same again. But I'm going to do it quicker because I showed you. So squeeze in the middle, squeeze in the middle, squeeze in the middle. There we go. I have had it suggested by 4D that I can, once I've got some of my basic videos out the way, I can see if I can make a dragon blindfolded. I got a feeling that I might actually be able to turn something passable out because of how many of these I've made. But I'm not sure. I'm really not.
Arty Hearty Life Live says that's quite human looking.
Yeah. It's it kind of is, but it seems to work really well with dragons. I have done a different leg, like of a dragon standing up, but I tend to, because this is the easiest position, I'm showing you the easiest possible dragon. So
Arty Life Live says quite a shapely leg even for a human.
I know, right? I think I would need to use a little bit of a bigger ball of clay if it was me sculpting a self-portrait. There we go. Right. There we are. Now down to the foot. There you go. So you can just knock them out pretty quick once you get used to making them.
Very Hedgehog agrees with Arty Hearty Life Live. That's a tongue twister to say.
There we go, 2 legs. So let's get our dragon, face it towards you so that you can make sure you're getting your symmetry right, because these back legs need to be even. If I put them like that, it's not going to look right. He's going to look like he's got issues. So base of the tail, start of the body.
Says I wouldn't mind having legs like that.
I'm putting it so that I'm just on that join line there, the start of the thigh, and you're going to go up like that so that the knees slightly forward and the legs tucked in, and you do the same the other side, making sure that they line up. There we go.
Hearty Hearty Life Alive says, I wouldn't mind being a dragon.
I know, right? It'd be so much easier for travel. No more airports.
You imagine dragons don't get searched by the TSA?
I imagine the TSA would be reticent at searching a dragon. I mean, they are still on sort of low pay.
Yeah. Hearty Hearty Life says,
So.
Some say I am.
They lie, you're lovely. So we now have legs on. Back legs are done. Right. To one side, we're now going to go front legs. So, it's very similar to a back leg, but it's a little bit more stretched out. So again, you're squeezing through the middle, like I did on the last one. There we go. Now, top ball, we're going to be forming the top of the arm up here. Whoop, in camera, this bit. Forearm. So this gets elongated out a fair bit. Then we need to do a hand. So again, squeeze a little ball for that. And we are going to have a bit more muscle in the bottom arm, because animals on all fours tend to, because they're walking on all fours, all legs tend to get as strong as each other. So we're now like that. I'm going to form a hand shape. We're about to get onto something interesting. Now, because he needs to be the guardian of the last marble, these are the marbles we got to choose between. So tell me which ones you want. Number 1 is green with red and yellow and is a solid colour. Let's get some paper to put it on. Number 2 is the white version of that. Where are we? Camera. There. With red, blue, green and yellow lines through it. Can you zoom? Can you sort out the focus, please? Thank you. Yeah. Number 3 is the blue version. Number 4 is kind of the red version, but it only has white swirled through it. Now we're going to the see-throughs. We have a see-through yellow. So it's got the yellow swirling through. See-through green is a very light green. See-through medium blue, it's not showing up as well on the camera, but you can see it. And lastly, it's like a aqua blue see-through with a white around the outside. So what do you reckon would be the best dragon to go with this red base and an orange dragon? Any takers? No one? Anyone?
Not at the moment.
No? No one wants to make a choice for me. You like the aqua?
Yeah.
That one. Any difference?
Even
And
Spaz says and white, and 4D says the second one.
the second one, that was the solid blue. So we're now down to those three. Any choice? Any takers? Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shake them up. I'm going to drop one. It's the white. There we go. That's what we're going to end up with.
Even Monkey says, oh no, not that white. The green with yellow look.
The green with yellow. That one. That's not white.
Mary Joy Coleman says,
Whoop.
can you not see my chat from YouTube?
Oh.
I like the yellow see-through. It doesn't look like it's
Is
working.
YouTube not coming across?
I've got it set up to do that, but
Techie, my husband Techie says that he has got it set up, but it doesn't seem to be coming across.
Because they were doing that last time. The bot is set up in
I'm really
Windows
sorry
and
about
it's
that.
promoted to moderator.
Weird. So, I tell you what. Let's put all the ones in that got voted. So that's that one, that one, that one, and that one. Jiggle them up. Like this. First one to drop out the bottom is... Okay, there we go. You all saw that. It was luck. We're going with that. Any word on the interesting...
Mary Joy Coleman says,
Ooh.
no worries, I'll just stay here. Hopefully it won't drop. And Evil Monkey Spaz says, yay.
Right. So we're going to make a second arm. Get rid of that ridge that's there. There we go. Right. Squeeze around the middle. So I'm doing exactly what I did with the last one. And it doesn't matter if you do the forearm first or top of it into its right shape. So long as you get all the stages done, you will find the way that's right for you pretty quickly. And there we are. Now let's get hand shaped quickly. There we go. We signed up for a thing called Restreamio, which is meant to share your streams on all the different platforms and combine all the chats. And so far it's not done the most stellar job at it, has it? Right, so we've got our arms. We're going to attach them again, make sure they're level, and this time at the very tip where the shoulders would be, so it's at the end of your neck, at the start of the body. You're going to push them on firmly like that first. Then we're going to bring an elbow in and we're going to make the arms into the shape that you want. I tend to have mine folded, but what I'm going to do, because he's holding a marble, at this stage, let's bring the neck up a bit. Can you see that head's right in the way, that neck's right in the way, isn't it?
Mary Jo Coleman says, I have both on so I can chat here and watch there if it drops again, lol. Evil
Cool.
Monkey Spaz says, good plan. Mary Jo Coleman says, okay, it's working now, I can see chat on YouTube.
Oh, weird.
The chat's still not coming across from YouTube though, and I don't understand that.
I'm just pushing the marble into the hand and bringing the fingers where the fingers would be across like that. Now, if you want at that stage, you can use a pin tool to draw in fingers. I tend to not. I just add little claws at the end, which is what I'm going to do. At this stage, I want to mount it on its base so that I get the shape that I want. Because now I've got the size that I can make sure I fit it where I wish. So pick the whole thing up, put it onto its base, make sure it's facing with the writing in front of me. There we go. Writing in front of me. You don't have to do an intricate base. You don't even have to do a base, but I find it's a nicer finish. So I am going to go like that. Make sure it's pushed down firmly. Then the towel I'm going to bring round and join it onto the calf so that it's facing towards the front like that. Now, spare a thought for the feet over this side. Make sure that they're facing where you want and are tucked in. So here we go.
Mary Jo
That's it.
says I'm magic, i.e. me, because it's working now because I don't know what I did.
Right. Anyone who knows me very well in my private life knows that my husband is literally a wizard for computing stuff.
But I don't always know how I do it.
He don't know. Sometimes he doesn't even know how he does it. He turns up at something that's broken, and all of a sudden he goes, oh, "Sorry, I behave." And you're like, "What? I've been here all day. How?" And he even acknowledges it now. It's like, yes, it's not you. It's the machine. It's trying to be weird with you. I'm just putting the rest of my marbles away because I keep knocking them. Right. We're on to the head. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some florist wire like that. I'm going to put a little bit just about that deep in, because that's going to help secure the neck, and then cut it with about 0.5 centimetre to 1 centimetre sticking up the top. I mean, raw clay goes onto raw clay pretty well, but florist wire does help strengthen it.
Hearty Life says don't lose your marbles.
Nope. And he's definitely got this one. It's properly gripped. So we're going to take off enough for the wings, and that the remaining clay is our head. So that's what I've got for the wings. Now let's see. You need a bit extra for the lines down the wings, so about that much will do fine. Might need a little bit more. So you don't want to get to the end. If you're using a colour that you've mixed up, you don't want to get to the last stage and find you've not left yourself enough clay. So I try to just chop off. You only need a bit. It's not a lot needed. So they're about equal. That can be for my head. Now, you want to take a small bit off the head. Tiny little bit like that. That's going to be put to one side because we're going to use that for eyes. So the rest of this is for head. So bring it into a bowl, which takes a minute. There we go. Now, that ball is going to go into a teardrop shape by pinching and twisting, because that's going to be its muzzle. Now, because dragons don't actually exist, you've got a lot of artistic license on how long and short you want the snout. Thin, narrow, hooked, flat at the end. There's all sorts of options. I am going to bring it over so that it's got a kind of pointy beak snout, like that. But you can do it flat, you can do all sorts of shapes. But this is what this one's going to get. Now, first thing to do with this dude is we're going to work on its eyes, because we need to get the crystals in. You can just get a bit of black, roll it into a little ball, and just go splodge. And you've got 2 black dots, and that's eyes. I'm going to go a little bit more posher than that. What I'm going to do...
Hearty Life says dragons do exist.
Yeah, ish. Go to the Komodo Islands and you find out pretty quick that they got them. Right, I've got some crystal beads. off of eBay. There are lots of them. Now, what I tend to do, I can't show you this. On the front of this drawer, I've stuck the size that they are. And these ones are 6x8. Because the amount of times I've got the wrong size beads once they've run out, it's pretty bad. Right. I'll go for a green. Let's see if I can find two greens the same. Because remember, if it's glass, it can be baked. If it's crystal, it can go through just fine. So you can branch out and use things like beads for your creations. So I've got one that's a leaf green and one that's a teal. Brilliant. There we go. Two that's leaf green. There we go. Right. Find yourself a ball tool that's roughly the same size. Can be a little bit smaller. That's okay. See? Ball tool. Right. Again, put your dragon square on. Now remember, predator's eyes are towards the front on the forward. Actually on the front forward part of your face. Prey species have their eyes to the side of your head. It gives them a bigger depth, a bigger field of vision, but worse depth perception. Whereas predators, because they're hunting down their prey, need the depth perception.
Darth says in relation to dragons existing, yeah they do. 4D is one, but don't tell anyone. Shh.
So, I say nothing for Darth Bra. So the dragon's eyes need to be towards the front. So I'm making 2 ball indentations. Then we're going to get tin foil. Now what I'm doing here is what I did in big for the glass pebbles in the base. You're going to go shiny side towards the outside. Either cut with your X-Acto knife or you can tear it off and just fold over so it's in a roughly rounded shape that's the same sort of size as your hole. It doesn't matter if it goes up the end, like up the sides, it doesn't, that helps bounce the light around. If it sticks out the top slightly, that's also fine, because we're going to cover it in eyelids.
4D says, damn, can't hear what she said, and then it's got a tongue out emoji. And after your life says,
little circle.
We get a bit of natural history education here too.
Yeah. Well, it's always bugged me when I see dragons with their eyes very far around the side of their head, because they would starve to death. So, it looks too big for that eye hole, but you want to put it over the top. Use the ball tool you just used, and you're going to push the tin foil in. Just make sure that it's the right shape. See? Do the same for the next eye. Little bit of tin foil, tear it off, fold it back on itself so that the shiny side isn't the side you're folding against, you're folding against the back. So you get something roughly the right size for the eye socket. And again, like this, you can see it's sticking up, it's not a problem. Roughly the right size, there we go. That'll do it. Now, over the eye socket. And if you are cack-handed, which I was for ages, I could never line that bit of tin foil up with that hole. Use a pair of tweezers to move them around. Then push that into your eye hole. Smooth down any jagged bits. There we go.
Coleman says that's a really neat trick.
And they're in. I think it's awesome. Because that it's a really neat trick. So you can see that crystal without any tin foil, it's very dark. I'm going to put it in, you'll see that actually the tin foil makes it quite light. First thing, before you put your bead in your eye socket, you want to hide the holes of the beads. So make sure that that is not the side that's facing outwards. See? Like that. And just push that into the eye socket. It looks a little big, but don't worry, once you've got the eyelids on, it doesn't. At this stage, it... Whoop! Runaway bead. Can you see where that went? It might be by your foot somewhere. I heard it hit your chair. Typical, huh?
Do you have another one?
I'll go dig out another one.
Found it.
You found it? Brilliant. Thank you.
Evil Monkey Spaz says it went on the floor. I'm helping.
Thank you, Evil Monkey Spaz. I don't know what I'd do without you. Right. Make sure that they are laying the way you want. Push it in. Try and make sure that when you push it in, you're not putting too much pressure on the back, that you're not flattening it out. So I tend to try and put a little cup to my hand and push like that.
Evil Monkey Spaz says you'd suffer without me.
I would. So it's in. Creepy looking face. I think you'll all agree. Let's get some eyelids on it before it freaks us all out. Put your tinfoil to one side. Right. Now, on this, you're probably going to want a smaller blade. So I tend to go over to my X-Acto knife.
Evil Monkey Spaz says I like it.
You will not see an X-Acto knife English. You will not see an X-Acto knife like this. I've stripped all the outside that had a blue plastic that was meant to be soft grip. That was really annoying. So, I'm cutting a little bit. What you need, we do bottom eyelid first. You're going to make a tiny sausage that tapers to a point at both ends. You want them both the same thickness, or it'll look like one of the eyes are swollen. So that's one. That's two. So I pinch each end and I'm pulling and twisting. See? And if it turns out that it's a little bit long for the last one, you can always break a bit off or add a bit on. But it gives you a good, it's not hard to match them up basically. Just takes a bit of pinching and pulling around. You can again weigh it and make sure that they're even, but I can't be asked with that. That one's very slightly too long. There we go. Fiddle, fiddle, fiddle. Right. Top eyelid. We're going to start with two little balls roughly the same size, that sort of tiny ball of clay. Then you're going to squidge it flat with your fingers, push on one side so that it's now, you're pushing on one side with your thumb, you're getting your fingers and pushing down on the other side, so it's a little semicircle that's got a kind of not completely flat edge, and you're going to push it flat. Make sure they go into a bit of a point. See? That shape. Kind of like a little moon. Now that needs to be able to go across the eye. So if it's too small, pinch it thinner and pull it out till it's enough to cover. Yeah, that'll do. Two of those. So pinch it flat, push on one side, push the edges, pinch it flat, push. That's the process until you got yourself two top eyelids like that. Now you're gonna need a ball tool for this. if you really want to make it look really, really professional. But you might not. I'll show you it with and without it smoothed in. You're going to start in the corner with your long strand along the bottom edge. Can you see that? Into the corner. And you're going to use your finger to just tap it in up to that edge, and you're going to bring it to a point. If it's too long, just snap it off. That's what you're aiming for the bottom eyelid. It's got a little tick to the side and an under. Yeah? Now, you can then go on to the top eyelid, and I'll show you smoothing in after. But if you decide you are going to smooth in, you can do that. Do the bottom eyelid, smooth in, then do the top eyelid. Top eyelid, you start in the middle, quite far back, because you want to have it open. And you push on. Now that looks like a very sort of droopy eyelid. Once you've pushed down the edges so that it's not going to move, you then can come in with something small and pointy. I use a tiny ball tool. You can use a needle, anything like that. And what you want to do is you want to get, that's too big actually, let's use my needle tool. You want to get under that top eyelid, lift it up a bit and curve it out like that. Then suddenly it's in a better shape. Now, you don't have to smooth it out. You could leave it like that. If you did want to smooth it out, you just literally get your ball tool and the join lines, and you just use it to rub out those join lines so that it looks like your eyelid and your head are all part of one, like it kind of should be. You're gonna have a few bumps, you just smooth them out with your thumb, it's fine. I tend to, so that's the top eyelid smoothed in. It looks a little bit more professional, but it's not mandatory by any means. And again with the bottom eyelid, again you just very gently smooth along the joined edge, making sure you're not distorting your eye too much. You may find you, oops, don't hit your blooming model with, sorry. You may find you need to go down to a smaller size ball tool for the under eyelid to smooth in. There we go. Now, I'm going to change the shape of that eye so it's a bit more up, because when you fiddle around with the eye you'll find that you'll go from happy to sad to excited. So fiddle around with the eye till you've got it where you want, and then that's it, finished. See? On to the next eye. You do exactly the same again. So start from the corner, whoop, from the corner, there we go, like that, push down, bring round, bring up to the middle and into a tick. The excess just pinch off and pull. There we go. Top eyelid, start, place it in the middle on the back like that, and then you push down one side, push down the other, make sure it's firmly secured, and then you go in with your needle tool to get it to the shape you want before we're going to start smoothing it down with a ball tool. So around the edge, very quickly, and it makes a big difference, I think. But if you haven't got a ball tool, anything with a small flat edge that can just rub out that join line for you. I want that up like that there. and you're pulling from the eyelid bit of clay onto the body, onto the main body of the head, rather than the other way around. If you try the other way around, you'll end up smudging the bottom eyelid, if that makes sense. So there we go. We now have 2 eyes on. So the next stage on from that is, let's use a pin tool just to draw a mouth under the beak. There we go. Bring it round. We now have a smiling dragon. At this stage, we're going to put it onto the rest of the dragon body. Pinch the neck either side. Decide where you're going to actually join on, and you're going to push it very gently, so you're not going to disshape it. It's better to do lots of little pushes than do one heavy smudge, until it hits the neck clay properly so there's no gaps, and then you get the orange under chin, and you're going to just bring that up underneath so that it's all joined on and looking right. So let's show you what I've done. See? Like that. Now, next thing to do, we need some more of the accenting clay because we're about to do some nostrils. We need a really small bit, so literally just break a pinch off. Tiny, tiny dots of clay. Yeah? And roll that into a little ball. Make sure you make 2 the same size. So like that and like that. Then get your dragon, make sure he's facing totally in front of you so that you can make sure you put these on level and in the right place. Towards the tip of the nose, or wherever you want the nostrils to be. You can have them up towards the top. Some people do. Some people have them down towards the tip. It really is up to you. I tend to try for a tip. So, 2 big dots. Now, here's where the smart bit comes in. Get your pin tool. You're going to put that in the center of that dot. Just wiggle it around a bit to make nostril holes. And again with the other one into the center. Give it a wiggle. And then suddenly you've got that. If you try to make little donuts like that, you won't get them even, and you will have it so that the join shows up every time. Make a ball, put a hole in it. Don't try and make a sausage and join it into a loop. That's my tip. So, we have a lizard now, but you're not a dragon. You haven't got wings. So we're now on to dragon wings. Dragon claws first, actually, because the wings can get in the way. So the accent colour, you're going to take off a tiny little bit, and you're going to roll it in your fingers so that both the ends are to a point. Now, there is a whole lot of tradition in China and Japan about how many claws a dragon has and what that signifies. I have not studied up on any of it. I just tend to put 3 on each foot. Just seems to be what I've ended up with. So we're going to make 12 little claw shapes. So what we're doing, can you see there's a tiny little stick with a pointed tip each side. you're going to try and aim for them to be roughly the same size as each other, but don't spend forever on it. There is no need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's surprising how quickly you can get along to the point where it's actually looking like something. 6. Now, I would say you can put a ridge of clay along the middle and then just use your tool and stamp it intermittently, and it will make little spikes along the middle line. Or you can do the kind of spike I'm going to show you on the horns and the tail, and do little ones of those all along the edge. There's lots of different ways you can make frills and spikes for your dragon, and my recommendation is you just make lots of different types of dragon and see which ones you like. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Evil Monkey Spaz said, I just looked up the Chinese dragon claw numbers and found out that the Imperial dragon is shown with 5 claws instead of the usual 4 to distinguish him from the lesser beasts.
Wow, none of mine's had 5 or 4, so I don't know what my 3-clawed ones mean. He must be a lesser beast, but I don't care, I love them. Right, lots of little claws made up very quickly. Now, I find it is easier to use a little ball tool. So you pick up a bit at the end, and then you come in, you start on the edge that's closest to the body.
Arty Life says, Chav Dragon.
Have I got to make a little Burberry sign for it? Oh god, now I'm being sued by Burberry. Da, 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 da. I stand by it. I regret nothing. There we go. This is going to be next to impossible to show you on the back foot, because I'm not sure the camera is going to get into this little nook. But the time spent on claws, it's worth it. I'll show you on the front claws. That'll probably be better. But they go on quick.
Evil Monkey Spaz says 3 claws means less digits to bend to be rude. Arty Life says new insult. You three clawed chav.
Brilliant. I'm so glad that you guys are my friends. I'm very lucky. Right, let's see. Can I get the camera to... Yeah, there we go. Look at that. They're tucked right under, but they make a big difference. Because a clawless dragon, that's a bit of a problem, isn't it, really? It just doesn't go with the stereotype. So, now these front ones are also going to get used to help hold that marble in place. So, bend them over.
Arty Life says he's a beaut.
He is. I'm very pleased. I'm glad you think he's male too. I've been calling him. I think it's a him. Some of my dragons do look very girly, but I think for some reason this one seems a bit of a bloke to me. Right. So, these claws are now on, and I'll show you what I've done. So you're just putting them in and tapping. Oops, that's a face, not a dragon. There we go. You're putting them on and then just tapping them down a bit.
Yeah.
There, right. You can see, just tapping them in to make sure that they're fully joined along that edge. Yeah? So, claws are on. Let's do some wings. Now, you're back on your florist wire again. Oh, dry mouth. Right. Now, this is going to take you doing a bit of eyeballing it, and it's down to you. There are dragons like Pete's dragon's got tiny little wings for his body size. Some of them have got huge wings for their body size. I think Toothless wing to body ratio, he's a bit like a glider. There's a whole lot of wing going on there. So decide what you want. Big ones, small ones, whatever. You're going to need about that much of your florist wire for a big dragon like this to go into the back. So you discount the top of your thumb's worth of florist wire. Then you're going to go, right, that's the top side. Bend it where you want to have the bend. And decide how long you want that top edge to be. So I'm going to be there. That long? That. So then you cut it. Where's my cutters? There we are. Now, this next bit took me a while to work this out. So let's put that out of the way. How you can measure to get it so that you've made exactly that out of this one. You start, you put them next to each other, and you check that they're level by putting it against your thumb like that. Now, you want to use this hand to hold both of the side that you've leveled out. Put your thumb in the middle of that joint and use this finger, your forefinger, to push over and do the bend. And you'll find, can you see? It goes exactly the same as the last one. That's how you want to hold it to make it do that bend. Then you hold the top end that needs to have the excess cut off. Hit your cutters to the end of the one that's been cut.
Let me know when I can read you a long one.
There we go. Cut this and then I'm all ears.
Evil Monkey Spaz says, back to the claw thing, I looked up dinosaur claws, the most primitive dinosaurs in the famous theropod group that later included the Tyrannosaurus rex had 5 fingers. Later theropods had 3, just like birds that evolved from them. Your dinosaurs are just younger than the Chinese descended ones.
Oh, that is way more trouble than I ever would have gone to. So thank you, Evil Spaz Monkey. That's brilliant. I have a primitive dragon. I'm alright with that. Now, a habit for you to get into that is worth the effort. Your wings need to mirror each other. So whenever you're working with them, get used to putting them in that position so that you know that you're always going to do a mirror. Right. Now, your blob of wing clay. So this is the excess to make the little lines. So we're going to need the 2 bits that were the actual wing itself. That must be excess. That must be wing. There we go. That's right, these 2. The 2 balls you cut to one side, you're going to round them off into actual balls of clay. Ah, can I use the term monkey? How have we got a cat back in here again?
Because he is Houdini.
Right. So, 2 balls of clay. Now, do this one at a time. We're going to get this ball. We are going to thread it through the wire in the middle. Then you're going to push it into the corner. Now that will rip a bit of the clay on that edge. That is fine. So, remember which side is the side that's going in the back and which side is the one that's going along the back. And you're going to take your clay and start to squeeze it down the short end, the bit that's going that side. Remembering to leave enough to stick into the back of the clay. See, you can always tidy up any cracks on the end just by pushing on it like that. There we go. Keep going down. There we are. Right, bit for the back. Now you then come over this side and you start to do the same. You don't squeeze on the corner, you're squeezing on the tip, the top edge, like that. Squeeze it along like that. Now this edge needs to be completely covered all the way to the tip. So any thick bits of clay that you've got, so this is a bit bunched up around here, you're going to need to leave a bit of a bump like that, because we're going to do something with that in a minute. But twisty, twisty, twist. What are you? There. Sorry, I had a bit of clay that was the wrong colour, marking that. So I just literally pinched off a bit off the end and I'm smoothing it over the top. That's how easy it is to correct problems with this. I could have used rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol to get rid of that, but just cover it in another bit of clay will do fine. Now make sure that it's lined up okay, there aren't any splits where the wires got too close to the surface that you need to blend back in. There we are, that's better. You bring it up over the wire and then bring it into a point. Okay, so you've now got that. Yeah? So, last thing to do with this, you're going to pinch flat that triangle like that. And then holding the base of it, you're going to start to twist that pinched bit so it makes like a little pointed spiral like that. So just twist, 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 and then you're going to curve it over along the vertical side to make a little hook. Right. Do the same again for your other wing. It is far easier to do them both in stages than to do a complete wing and then do a second complete wing. It's easier to compare them. Sorry, I'm looking behind me just to check where my cat's going. He's discovered that in my workroom I've got a really nice comfy sofa and a rug. And he's like, this is the room for me. I'm going to stay there forevermore. Which isn't good for polymer clay because cat hairs are annoying. You can get them out with tweezers, but it's really annoying. So, I'm just going through doing the same again, like before. We go, pinch along that edge, pinch and pull. Bit of rolling between your fingers, it all helps. You get a knack for it. You just got to be aware that you're doing it.
Hearty Life says, sounds like the room for me too.
I'm pretty pleased with it. We've recently done it up. It was a spare sort of storage room because none of us were well enough to put the effort in to actually fix it up to a usable room, but all of us put in a lot of our health basically and spent a couple of months and got it looking amazing, and now I can use it and I'm barely out of it. Right, so again, that bump there, pinch a flat bit, hold at the base and then twist so that it forms a little point like that. A little twist. You don't want to do a big wrench, it will tear it. And just tap it over. So we now got outside edge of two wings. So we now need to do the middle membrane bit. Let's put these to one side. Make sure your board's clean. You're going to cut yourself a little bit of your accenting colour. About the same for each. You still need a bit left over to make horns with for the tip of the tail and above the eyes. So now you can use a rolling pin and flatten them out that way, but you want to make it so that you're going to make a triangle. Now let's come onto the screen. So flatten it out, move your dragon out the way for a minute. Let's put this, we're working with a wing. That was the bit that was, there we go. Right, you want this to be long enough for the top edge to come up just about 1/2 centimetre from the tip. So like that, a bit longer. You're just going to fiddle with your clay. Now, you don't want this whole bottom edge covered. When you go to put it in, it will get tangled because it's got to go diagonally. You need to have a thinner bit so it's only sort of halfway. There we go, that'll do it. Right, I'll show you. Let's put this in. You start in the corner, up to the edge, make sure that there's enough either side, and you want to go no more than halfway down the vertical side. See, so I've left all that bit uncovered. Then we're going to bring it into a point by pinching and squishing flat. Then we bring another point in, pinch, push flat. Now, however many points you put in is what you're going to need to do on the other wing. So I'll do a little one in there. There we go. Now, push it flat along the edge. You can always use a blade to release it if it's very thin, but you don't want it too thin because you want to be able to have it quite strong once it's baked. So there we go, that's one. So let's do the same again the other side. So I'm gonna flatten it out. You don't even need a rolling pin, you can just pinch it flat. So flatten it out a bit into the corner with a point, bring it out so that it's only going to be halfway down. So you want that to be moved round like that. We need this top edge longer, so you just literally spin the clay round so it's more of a semicircle, and that suddenly increases your length an awful lot there. Anything slightly too much. There we go. Right, now we start to pinch out the points. Pinch. You just dig into the edge of the semicircle line. It's really easy if you've conditioned the clay out properly. There we go. Pinch it through. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if your points aren't in the right way, like mine aren't, I need to put one more towards the end. You can literally just move them over by pushing on the edge. Make another point like this in there, and then bring that out for that long edge bit. There we go. That will be far better once I've got it all flat. So there we go. It's always harder to do the second wing than it is the first wing because you're trying to mirror what you've done before. But again, it doesn't have to be very exact. That's roughly it. There we go. Right. So push into the corner. Make sure that this is laying through the middle, that there's not too much either side. And you push on. Don't push so heavy that the wire comes through the top of the edge. It will, it's fixable. You just pick yourself a pinch of the clay, put it over the top and then smooth it in so that it's covered again, but it's a faff, so if you can avoid it, it's better. So there we go. Let's bring that up to that point. Now that looks roughly right. See? Let's smooth those through. There you go. Right. Now, where did that bit of dark clay that I put to one side? There it is. That's what we need. This you need to bring into a long thin strand. Snap tip. There we go. Push it back on. And what you're going to do with that is you're going to start from it's going to need rolling out like this. Some clay you can literally just pinch and bring it out very fine with your fingers, but this one seems to be a bit more of a stiffer clay and wants you to use a board to roll it with. Who am I to argue? Right, there we go. You want it quite thin, because what we're going to do is we're going to start in the corner up where the hook was, so just at the start of that orange, pick a place. Now you go out to your furthest point, pinch it off, back up next to that, push it in, bring it down to your next point, pinch it off, and I do this for all the points along. You see why at this stage it's really important to have them mirrored, because you'll end up with them both on the same side and then it'll look really weird. Now you are going to pinch this top bit together to make it look like they all sort of run in a smaller area and then fan out like that. Then the last one, here we are. Right, make sure these are pushed on firmly, because if they're not, they have a tendency of breaking off once baked. Right, I'm going to need to release that with a blade. So again, like I released everything, you go behind it against the board. There we go, that's fine. So going to do that over here. Let's bring this up fine. We're almost here, you know. We've just got a couple of horns after we put some wings in. And then we have, well, we're not even at 2 hours. This will be a 2-hour dragon, which is pretty good considering it looks like a massive, huge, decent dragon. So it is a lot more simple. You can put more embellishments on, you can take longer time, you can start adding scales and texture in the skin, but I really wanted to show the easiest way to do this. And out of all the different positions that I put dragons in, having it on all fours like this, you haven't got to worry about trying to hold up a body on standing up legs by making it upright on all. So yeah, which I have done, but it's not easy. Right, it's going to be just enough of this for this. There we are. Last one in. Right, let's go this way. There we are. Sorted. So pinch at the top corner to make it all neat. Make sure it's all pushed down onto the wing. Then that's my excess clay of the dark colour. I don't have much wasted, do I? There we go, release it up. Right, next pro tip about putting your wings in. If you take these and you push them in, the wire is just going to push straight up through that clay. You can bake this and then push them in baked, and that will stop that happening.
Artie Life says, will you add paint or pastels or powders to him?
You can do. I'm not, but you can.
Glitter? You go glitter? Does some glitter about?
I've glittered the base, so I don't want to put glitter on the body. You can add any surface technique you want. Pastels, chalks, glitters, mica powders, all that sort of thing. If you do that, any surface technique needs to have a layer of varnish. Now, what I do is I use my pin tool. I pick where I'm going to put the wing in, and I'm going to push it in at the angle that I want the wing to go into. So be sure, push it in, and your next one. So you've got some guide holes now. Then we get our wing. I'm going to put the line side facing outwards. Now how I've found to put it in, instead of just pushing it in like this, which I've found I've got these bottom bits caught and bent up, and then it ends up in a mess. So I take it out to the side and I push it in to the side. Now you're going to do some gentle wiggling. You really don't want to do much. If it's not in deep enough, it's better to come out and put a deeper hole than it is to try and push hard with the wire and have it come through the top. Come on, go in. It will just go. There we are. Down to where the clay meets. You're going to push down. You can use a ball tool, you can use anything just to secure the clay around that joint a bit better, and then you can bring the wing back round and angle it how you want and just stick it to the back. Now next wing, whoops, don't drop it, out to the side, into the hole, very gentle wiggle so that it doesn't come out the top, goes through, push it down, bring it round, put it how you want. Now you can, the other thing you can do, if you want the head to be more upright, you can take at this point and secure the head to the wings a bit like that, but I'm not going to do that at this stage because I want to put horns on. Come on, look over. I want the head upright a bit more, but we're going to make some last accenting horns for it. We're at this stage. Okay? Your accenting colour. Get yourself 2 little lumps of that. About the amount you want for your horns. So I'm going to go some decent sized horns, so about that big, into a ball, although this one doesn't really matter if there's any lines on. because you're about to put a whole lot of lines into this clay. Right, we're in a ball. Like you did with the claws, you're going to start to roll the edges into 2 points, like that. There we go. Now, you can just put that on florist wire and have pointed straight horns like that, but I don't do that. What I do is I squish them a bit flat with my fingers, and then you're going to hold one end with one hand, one end with the other hand, and counter twist. You can hold next to where you want the twist to support what you're doing, and you bring the twist right the way down into the tips, so you've then got a spiral horn like that. See? Do that again with your next one. Into a sausage with a bit more of a bump for the middle, but you don't want too big a bump, so you're going to bring it out to that. Squish it flat, then twist. You can either hold one hand still and just hold and help support along as you twist, or you can twist both at once. It's entirely up to you. There you go, all the way along. Right, now next stage, I get the 2 horns. If they're one looks a bit bigger than the other, which this one does, I'm going to take that off, just bring that back up into a point like that. You can really make them look roughly right. There we go, that'll do. That needs to just come down. There we are. Right, I'm going to push the tip on one end together so it forms a V. Then I'm going to turn my dragon, face him towards me. Get that V. That goes between the eyes. And you hold under the chin and you push it down evenly between the eyes. Like that. Then one of them goes across the eyebrow. You push down to the edge of the head. And the next one across the eyebrow. Now, let's show you that. Looks like he's got a weird hairdo. Yeah? Next stage. Bring it round. You can also curl it like that. Do a little spiral to it. Do the same with the other. You counterclockwise and clockwise if you can, and try and make it so that they mirror each other. There we are. Now I can see that wing's not in the place I want. Now you can then bring the head and fiddle around and get it to sit where you want it to sit. That'll do it. Like that. Now,
Daft One says it looks amazing.
we have horns on in a thank you, Daft Bra. We got horns on. I'm going to bring that up to there. There we are. So you can use your wings as a really good rest for your horns, so that you're not wristing snapping them. So there we are. Horns in there. Horns in there. Now, I'm going to do a little one for on top of the nose, and one for the tail, and then we're done. So, small bit like this. Roll it into a rough ball, into a triangle, pinch flat, twist the pinch like you did with the others. Then I get my knife, I cut it so that it's flat, like that. Then I go a big horn like that, just at between the eyes. And I'm going to make a tiny little one, so tiny little triangle, still twisting like that. So little horn. Can you see some tiny little? And that's going to go in front of the other one. And you can use these horns to go up the back, like I said. And I think this nose has got enough room for one more, even smaller, tiny little horn. So again, pinch flat, twist, 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 twist. And this needs the bottom cutting off it, because it tends to lay with the bottom kind of diagonal. So I've found I get a much neater horn if I just trim the bottom off. There we are. And there we go. Let's put it on a green background so you can see it better. See? Three-horned dragon. So last thing we've got to do is do a twist horn for the tip of the tail. Can you see it's just got the end of the tummy that we made sticking up. I would have a flick of red on the wing. There we go. Take that off. Sorry, I just noticed a bit of the dark colour where it shouldn't be. So, a larger triangle, point both ends like I did with the large horns on the head, twisting it like that. You can push inwards to make it a bit more stubby. So there we go. Now it looks kind of like a teardrop with lots of lines through it, and that I then push in onto that space like that, and we're done.
Mary Coleman says, "Thank you so much for teaching us. I learned a lot today."
There we go. You're the finished dragon. Thank you so much for your compliment, Mary. I would love to see how your dragons end up. This one's going to get baked, varnished, and then end up in my shop. So if you're interested in him, do keep a lookout on the Etsy shop. Like, follow, subscribe, these sorts of things, or share my work. That's really, really helpful as well. Anything that helps get my name around, and I will be back on next Wednesday, same time as always. Next week I'm going to be doing the cane slices that I did the week before, turning them into a sheet and showing you how to actually do that, so that you can then use it for various things without distorting the image. Okay.
Says, looks fab.
Thank you.
Says, beautiful.
Thank you. I can't wait to see all your dragons. I love seeing other people's dragons, especially ones they've used my tutorials for. If you want a walkthrough, I've done a photograph walkthrough. If you're interested in that, get in touch with me. I'm happy to sell it privately for about £2, and that saves me all the effort I went through to make it all. But it's got something like 35 steps, all photographed, all with written instructions underneath how to make this dragon. If you're interested in that, either get in touch with me on Etsy, Facebook, on YouTube, wherever. Just PM me and say you want the dragon tutorial. Okay? Have a great week, everyone. Thanks. Bye.